Hello everyone, today we are making fresh milled garlic pull apart bread. And now we're going to get our wheat berries ready, which is we need to use the scale to weigh them. And we need 330 grams of hard white wheat and 130 grams of whole Kamut, which means 460 grams altogether. And that is 3.5 to 4 cups of flour. Also in this recipe, we need 1.5 cups of warm water, a tablespoon of sugar or honey, 2 tablespoons of light virgin oil, 1 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 2 teaspoons of yeast. And in this mixture also, you need a butter compound, so we need 1 cup of softened salted butter, 4 to 6 cloves of garlic, 1.5 tablespoons of parsley, and what other herbs you want to use for the flavor of the bread, and 8 ounces of mozzarella cheese, shredded of course. So you'll see me shred it up with my hand shredder, which I truly love a lot. Here I am checking out the flour. It feels really warm and soft with the mock mill because that's stone ground, not steel bird. So it's almost done. Now we're going to add our water, which is 1.5 cups of warm water, remember, into my Inkersum, which my husband got me for Christmas, and my in-laws too paid half of it. So it was quite the gift, and I really enjoy it a lot. Here goes the oil, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, we're going to mix that up. That's the honey is in there with that, which is a tablespoon of honey. And now we're going to put the salt in, which is 1.5 teaspoons of salt. After that, we're going to add our flour. We'll just blend that up, and then we're going to add our flour, which is going in right now. Remember, that is 3.5 to 4 cups of milled flour. We're going to incorporate that until it's mixed up, only until it's mixed, because we want to autolyze it for 15 minutes, meaning the dough and all the ingredients have to incorporate with each other or they won't work. So we're just going to let it blend up just really quick and take it all down, put the lid on, and let it set for 15 minutes. Now while it's setting there for 15 minutes, I'm going to shred the cheese up with my hand shredder. That works really well. Sometimes the cheese gets stuck in there, but it works good. Remember, all the ingredients are organic. It's always organic here on this channel, or whatever ingredients we have is like grass fed or pasture raised or whatever. So this is yeast, 2 teaspoons, because we let it rest for 15 minutes, and now we're going to mix it up with the yeast in there until it becomes a soft and subtle dough that passes the window pane test. And I'm sure you guys are like, what's the window pane test? Well, the window pane test is when you grab a piece of dough and you pull it apart and you can see through it like you do with a window. So we just want to get it to that point, and then we're going to let it rest for an hour. So my Inkersum works really well doing that. It acts like the roller ball there, and the scraper acts like me hand kneading it with my hands. So we're getting to that point. You can tell the dough is getting to that soft, really subtle point. After it gets to that point, we're going to put oil at the bottom of the bowl. Well, I'm showing you the butter that we're going to use for the butter compound. So we're almost there with the dough, and once it gets there, we're going to put oil at the bottom of the bowl and let it rise for an hour. So there's the oil going in, and then we're going to put the dough back in the bowl and let it rise for an hour. So while it's rising, we're going to finish up the butter compound by adding our garlic cloves, which I've minced up previously in my food processor. So I'm just going to guess about 4 to 6 cloves of garlic. We're going to put our herbs in. I did put parsley in and another spice, which is chives. I thought chives would give it a nice taste. So chives and parsley is what I use for my spices to make our compound dough. And we are making this garlic pull-apart bread for dinner. So it's part of our dinner tonight. And excuse me for having me wear Christmas pajamas while I'm doing this video. It's what it is. I just had what I had on, and I just went at it because I knew I had to make dinner, and I was warm and comfy. Isn't that what it's all about? You want to be warm and comfy when you make dinner anyway. There's the compound butter all made up. I buttered the loaf pan before we decided to make it. So there's the butter. We're going to spread half of the mixture on the dough that I shaped into a rectangle shape. You see my granddaughter in the background with her dress. And then my husband kind of scoots over into the video a little bit too, but you know, we're all family here, so it really doesn't matter. So I'm spreading the garlic mixture onto the dough. Oh, there he is, see? You can use a knife or a spatula or whatever you need to use to put the mixture on the dough. And then after we put the mixture on the dough, we're going to spread some mozzarella cheese on it. Only half of the mixture because we have the other half of dough ball that we have to use. So now I'm putting the cheese mixture on the dough. Just half of it, remember. Like 4 ounces. Now I was measuring the pan, we're gonna cut the pieces of dough lengthwise. So I'm going to cut the dough lengthwise so we can stack them on top of each other. Hence the pull apart bread. We want it to pull apart, so we're trying to make layers so it can pull apart easily. So now we're layering it on top of each other. I did 4 layers. Now we're going to cut it lengthwise or widthwise to put it in the pan. So you want to tip up the pan on its end and just cut them little squares to make them almost touch the top of the pan, because we were going to let it rise for a little bit after we get them all in there. That one was kind of smushed there, and you can tell when the finished product is done, you can tell that one is kind of smushed a little bit when it's all done. But it didn't change the flavor or anything. It tasted good. And we're going to get the other side ready and do the very same thing. Spread out the butter compound and then put on your cheese mixture. Cut them lengthwise, stack them, and then cut them widthwise to put in the pan. Very simple process. I have made this garlic bread before with regular flour, but I wanted to try with fresh milled flour to give it a little bit more better taste and more healthier option for us. So that's why I did it with both, because now I'm using fresh milled flour, and I truly like using fresh milled flour, and I know that it's all really good for us. So yeah. Just gonna finish up that butter compound. There's a little bit left over. I'm gonna spread some on the top, and along with the cheese, there's leftover too, so I can have a butter flavor on the top. So we're gonna do the same thing. Cut it enough, to put in the pan, just like we did with the first one. Gonna make our slices so we can stack them on top of each other. This one ended up being 5 slices on top of each other. It's okay. It turned out. No matter how many slices were on top of each other, it still turned out. I'm trying to decide how big to cut those to put in the pan. They're actually kind of bigger than the other ones were because I'm trying to fill up the pan. And the last one, I had to push them all down to squeeze it in at the end. I'm just kind of giving it a push down. And then we're going to put the compound butter on top along with the cheese at the end. I'm just kind of mixing it around on the top. Give that top that flavor. I kind of put a little bit too much because when it was in the oven, all that all that butter kind of went all over the place. I'm glad that I put it on a pan because it dripped all over on the pan. Along with that mozzarella cheese melted all over too. I didn't think about that when I was putting it in the oven. Now we're going to let it rise for a little bit. For about 40 minutes, we're going to let it rise. There it is. You can tell it risen for about 40 minutes, and now we're getting ready to put it in the oven. You see that pan? I'm so glad I had that pan there underneath because it dripped all over. We're going to cook it for half an hour, and there it is. It's all done. And it was really yummy. Thanks for watching.